You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hey folks, it's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, there are ladies things that makes official. Welcome to the show. For 16 years, nearly 3,000 episodes, we have been bringing you what is now the last great podcast that's still broadcasting daily. We are the oldest podcast in existence that still broadcasts daily. There's only a handful of us left, and we seem to be outliving everybody, but we might kill off tomorrow if you don't refer your family, friends, and relatives, and so the guilt's on you. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1, the TikTokity, all those crazy places. And opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Today's featured author comes to us from bookstolifemarketing.co.uk. With expert publishing to strategic marketing, they help authors reach their audience and maximize their book's success. We have an amazing young lady on the show with us today, and we're going to be talking about her books. She's a multi-book author. Her book we'll be leading off with today is called The Clinton Mafia by Vonda Crocker. It's a fiction book that we're going to talk about. A group of drug runners in Mobile, Alabama have been traveling north and different things, so we're going to get into the deets. But in the meantime, welcome to the show, Vonda. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Give us any .coms, websites, wherever you want people to find out more about you on the interwebs.
Vonda Crocker books.com is probably the best one. I think that's the best one. So
all right.
There's several out there, but that's the best one.
Okay. The Clinton Mafia. Give us a 30,000 overview of this book and what's inside.
The Clinton Mafia is a made-up story. Some people think it's not, but it is, and it's not about President Clinton. A lot of people think it is, but unfortunately for everyone, it is not. This is a fun romp, and it deals with a small town called Clinton, and it's actually a combination of Clinton, Mississippi, and Clinton, Arkansas.
Oh, really?
And since I'm in Arkansas, that's why people think it's Clinton. President Clinton.
Yeah, he was governor, right? Yeah.
He was, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it is not. And it's about hiding cocaine and fudge is basically the story.
Sounds
and there are
similar,
sub-stories in there, but it's running drugs, cocaine specifically, from Mobile, Alabama through Clinton, and it actually goes through both Clintons.
Oh, really?
and yes, and then into Kansas City. And so there's a lot of intrigue in it. There's 7 women who are very good friends, and they're called the Clinton Mafia. And actually, there is a true Clinton Mafia that is a group of good friends who live in Clinton, Arkansas.
Wow.
Of which I am a member,
Really? Wow.
which is where this name came from. But in the
from inside the house.
Yeah, and in the book, I told how we got our name, and it's how the girls in the book got their name as well. Yeah.
Hiding cocaine in fudge.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that was like a thing or possible. What was the formula they used on that? Let me grab my pen here. No, I'm just kidding. I don't need to know that information. But I didn't know you could hide cocaine in fudge.
You can. I checked with my neighbor, who's a retired state trooper, to make sure that you could do that, and he assures me you can. It's a 5-pound batch of fudge, and they had the runners the traffickers had coerced a sweet little Mexican lady who's here illegally and lives in Clinton, and her children are back in Mexico with her parents. And they have threatened her with the children's safety if she does not put the cocaine in the fudge. They bring the cocaine once a week in through Clinton, buy 5 pounds of fudge every Friday, and give her the cocaine for the next week.
Wow.
And so while she's making the fudge for the little gift shop where she's working in the ladies' dress shop, she hides it in the fudge, and then they come every Friday, somebody does, to pick it up.
Ah.
And so anyway, it's very, and then there's a lot of little intrigues on the side. And anyway, it's small town life. And the point is, you think small towns are really boring and nothing happens, but I assure you they are not boring. I did not grow up in one, but I'm living in one, and I found that out.
Is there anybody in the book saying the line, "I did not have sex with that woman"?
No, not a soul says that. No, it does not. Now, if I had been writing the other one, possibly.
Yeah. That might have made for interesting. Maybe you should put the Clintons in your Clinton Mafia, and that would be a trifecta of 2 Clinton cities and some Clintons.
I think Bill and Hillary would get me for that.
Yeah, they probably.
Yeah, they would.
I could tell some jokes on that, but I'm just going to leave it alone because someone's going to start a conspiracy religion over it, some new QAnon thread or some crap.
Probably.
So now tell us about the protagonists in the book. Who are the folks there, and what are they up to?
There are 7 women. They're all very, very different. 2 of them were actually from Clinton originally. One of them came down from New York. Her husband was killed by the Mafia in New York. And so she threw us at the map, and it ended up in Clinton. And so that's why she's in Clinton. One of them is from a very wealthy family in New Orleans, and so she's trying to get away from the family because they're telling her what to do all the time. So she moved to Clinton, and one of them is a food critic and drives all over the state, eating at different places, and so she has a Nosh Notes, it's called, in the state paper. And they're just all so different. Every one of them is different. But they're very, very close friends. And they get together and think it's very strange that all this fudge is being bought every Friday. And so they start investigating. And one of them is married to a state trooper. And he is very concerned because they also are investigating. The girls don't know that, and they're very concerned because these girls are getting involved, and it's not a healthy place to be where you're checking on things that you probably shouldn't be checking on.
Yeah. Yeah. What made you write about drug trafficking? You write what you know is usually the things we always say in your experience of life. Is there something we need to know here, Vonda?
I do know a lot. I hear a lot. And also, one of my daughters was a police officer in Honolulu for 15 years, and she was co-deputized by FBI and DEA. So she knows a lot about drug trafficking. And, so I used her as a excuse too. Tara's her name.
Yeah. It's the research people do on books. A lot of authors come on the show and they tell me anytime I write a new book, I put it something like in France. So they tell the publisher, hey, I got to have some expenses to go to France and do some research for this book. And I'm like, this is brilliant. This is a great idea. You basically get your vacations kind of paid for. And they're like, you need 4 weeks in France. Yeah. I gotta make sure I look around and know
lots of research.
Be able to write, and you have to write the environment, man. But you write what you know. Yeah. Now you've written 3 books that we're going to be talking about today, and we're going to plug both of them. When did you know you were a writer? When did you start writing and kind of realize light went on? You go, hey, I have a knack for this. I think
I wrote my first book called Home Fires Burning. And that was when the military was going to Afghanistan and Iraq back and forth. The military member was going back and forth. Every 6 months they would be gone. That absolutely wreaks havoc with the family back home. And so I wrote the book explaining my experience as a military spouse for 34 years and 26 moves. And if I can survive that, you can too. And my point was, you either go home to mama or else you stay and you become incredibly strong. And that's what I did, because he was in the 82nd 5 times and always gone. And you never knew where they were going. They would just disappear and you didn't know when they were coming back. And so a lot of stress. And of course, the minute they leave, everything breaks. So
that's one of those.
Just a given. Yeah. And so my point was, it was my story. And everybody has a story. Every military spouse has a story. But this was mine, because most people don't move that often, and they don't live as many places as we did. So, but anyway, that was my story, and that's why I wrote it. It was for Army wives, because the divorce rate was just skyrocketing in the military.
Yeah, the divorce rate's pretty out of hand over there. It's a tough road.
It's a very tough road.
Yeah, and it's tough the support that our families make and stuff for our veterans and people who are active in the military is just so important. Without them, and these folks go and they put their lives on the line for freedom and what we do. So, we need to support our troops. And then the third book, tell us about that one.
The third book is Gulf Shores.
Oh, okay.
And Gulf Shores is totally different book. It's about a very famous movie producer. She's elderly, but she's still working, and she goes from Hollywood to Gulf Shores, Alabama every year to escape. Nobody in Hollywood goes to Gulf Shores, Alabama normally. And so she has a condo there and she flies in every summer and she lays on the beach for a week, 2 weeks just to escape, and has nobody recognizing her, and she loves it. This year she goes to the beach and she interacts with several people that are around her, and she changes the lives of every single one of them in one way or another, mostly positively. And you never visit with people around you at the beach. Nobody does, unless you're a teenager. You just don't. You go and you lay and you soak and you run in the water every now and then, but that's it. And she didn't. She interacted with everybody that she saw. And this idea came when one of my daughters and I went to Gulf Shores, and we were looking around, and I said, stories here. Look at all these people. There are stories. And so I made them up. They don't recognize themselves.
Hey, wasn't that gal we were on the beach with one time? She had that bikini. I don't know. You write what you know. You write what you see.
You do.
That's really the cool part of it.
It was fun.
But that's a great idea for coming up with stories for any of our aspiring authors that are watching the show. I think we all kind of do that, right? When we go into public, sometimes we see people and we make up stories about them. Sometimes we're assessing fight or flight issues, and is this person a danger to me? But yeah, there's sometimes I watch people and watch what people. I've always watched people all my life, and you learn a lot from people.
Yeah, you do.
You also learn what not to do sometimes.
Exactly.
If you ever watch
you do.
America's Funniest Home Videos, and sometimes people do that in real life, and you're just like, is this on TV or is this really happening for real? But thank God for Darwinism, the Darwinism Awards. But yeah, going to the beach and making up whole storylines, you can have a lot of fun. You could set a murder romp on a beach, I think, too, or some sort of.
I could probably use my daughter's experience in Honolulu to write 2 or 3 books.
I know a lot of women, they love these books. They call them beach read books because they can sit on the beach and they're really quick and easy.
Kind of, I think this one is. Probably. If you're laying, matter of fact, my younger brother said, I've got your book and I'm taking it with me. We're going to Gulf Shores this August and I'm going to wait and read it there. Good thought.
Yeah, good thought.
Yeah.
So what are some of the other things that come to mind when you sat down and started writing these books? You've written 3 now. Is there any future ones coming out?
No, not really, unless I get a brainstorm or something. But no, these were the 2 that I had in the back of my mind. The Clinton Mafia. As a matter of fact, I had lunch with the Clinton Mafia yesterday. So the real one.
Yeah.
But they helped me a little bit years ago when we were first talking about this. And then I will tell you that I was diagnosed with ATTR. Most people don't know what that is, but that gave me the impetus to get going on these books that I had in the back of my mind, and I really wanted to write them. And so I did, and one right after the other. So I did it. And also the Clinton Mafia is also in Spanish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Spanish version for it.
Yeah, it's available in Spanish.
It's good because then the cartels can read it and know where to ship the goods.
Exactly, and get some ideas.
They can be like, hey, no one's ever going to suspect if we run stuff through Clinton, Arkansas.
And in fudge.
Yeah, and in fudge. I mean,
great idea.
I'll get the recipe after we close the show for you and how to mix that properly. But that's very different than the time. I always joke when I go to parties, friends' parties, that you meet their friends and strangers or whoever's at their party. Right. And they'll always be like, hey, how did you meet Bob? Bob, how did you meet Bob and get invited to his party? And I always use the same story. I'm always like, it's a long story. I probably shouldn't tell you about it because it's private. And they'll be like, no, what's going on with Bob? And I'll be like, how we met. You want to know how we met? Well, we met in Tijuana. And we were both at a certain donkey show. And we were a little too drunk and inebriated and made a mess. And I didn't know him. He didn't know me. But, when you're in a Tijuana jail, you make friends with who you can. But I got to tell you, when you're laying on a table and the drug dealers are telling you the only way you're getting out of jail is to become a drug mule, and they're packing cocaine up into your bottom, and you're having to waddle across the state line or the U.S. line together, you become good friends. And then they just kind of look at me in horror, like,
they're sorry they asked.
For real? Yeah. Yeah. When you're laying on a table and people are shoving cocaine up inside you, you have to waddle across the border there. You become really close.
Really close friends.
We're good friends now. And they just sit and look at you like, what the fuck? And then my friend will usually come over and be like, one of my friends will come over and be like, you didn't tell him the Tijuana story, did you? So that just sets it all in there. But yeah, give him some ideas on drug. That's a different type of fudge cocaine experience from what I understand. I don't know what that means. That was a long way to set up a really
another part on the Clinton Mafia too. It starts with a horrible crash. A wreck coming down into the town of Clinton. A big gravel truck pulls out in front of the runner, and he's fiddling with his radio. And when he looks up, he sees this giant truck in front of him, and that's the last thing he ever sees.
Oh,
while during this wreck, the side panel that's packed with cocaine explodes, and the local police, as in many small towns, are not all that competent. And so, number one, they can't figure out who he is because he's got so many aliases. And so he's on ice, and the cocaine is in their locker, and nobody knows really what to do with it. And so it's the state police that kind of get involved, and they start connecting with state police in other states, and they figure it out. But anyway, that's the beginning of that book. It's not really the girls, it's the drug runner.
So it seems like you did some pretty good research. You talked to some police officers and did some good research for the book.
And the rest of it was just pure made up.
You ever done the drug mule thing just to research for the book? Run some drugs.
Never
did. Too bad. Oh, there's the next book. No, I'm just kidding.
True.
We're just doing
there could be another one. You never know. Giving me ideas here.
That's whenever the officer said to me, Chris, you've had too much to drink today. I'm like, I am doing research for a book. That's what it is. Yeah. And they're like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
sure it is.
Yeah, keep moving then, buddy. Keep moving. Any future titles on the deck?
No, not really. I have had people ask me to do another Mafia book with the girls doing something else, investigating something else besides the drug running. Because there's 2 or 3 little things in the book that are not about drug running. It's local drama that happens in small towns.
Local.
And I've got to tell you that when I first moved here, like I said, we lived all over the world. And so we come to Clinton, Arkansas, which is a tiny little town, and 2,000 some odd. And
some people. Wow.
And I was writing a play for a dinner event that was in the city, and I made it a murder mystery, and I showed it to one of the girls who grew up here, and she said, "You can't do this," and I said, "Why not?" And she said, "It's all true." I made it up, and I changed people's names just a little bit so you knew who they were, but the movers and shakers in the town, but you knew who they were because I didn't change it that much.
Yeah.
And evidently all the horrible things I put in the book were all true. Or in the play. So I had to rewrite the whole thing and have her peruse it and make sure it was all okay. But that was my introduction to small town living, that everyone's related to everybody else, and everybody knows everybody's secrets. And anyway, it's interesting to live in a small town. It's also great. There's positive things too. So.
Yeah. But those rumor mills, man.
Gosh, yeah.
Everyone. I have a big dating group, and there's a small town. It's not really small. It's actually pretty big, but it's still small comparatively.
Yeah.
In the state, and everyone's, hey man, they're out. It's St. George. They're out there in the middle of nowhere, and it's really hard to date there because everybody knows who you dated. Like up here in the big cities, it's maybe your ex might find out you're dating somebody or something, but like everybody knows like your whole dating history, and you're like, this is kind of weird. They're like, you've been with Bob, Doug, and Mark, and everybody's been with Bob, Doug, and Mark, and you did it twice. That's that sort of thing. But I'm sure there's rumors, and people are always up to no good with that sort of stuff. It's wonderful that you found this writing and stuff, and you've used it as a great outlet for yourself to speak what you want to do and tell your stories. And storytelling is just so fun. And I don't know, maybe it'll become an icon there in the little Clinton town of get everybody to buy the book there. And
I hope so. I hope so.
Hey, you got to support. You got to support your local business, and it's about the town a little bit. Right? You should write a tell-all true story book about the town and become a real.
That would be I would probably be torched. Run out of town on a rail.
You'll be throwing Molotov cocktails.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would probably be bad to end up having 2,000 people in one town hate you and no one likes you.
Yeah, I will tell you, this is off subject totally, but we're talking about small towns, and there's one thing about, I think it probably happens all over the country, but especially in the South, there's always a few families in every small town that uses their front yard as their trash heap. And so you can drive around in any small town and you'll see lovely homes and lovely yards. And then all of a sudden you'll see a house that has everything they own in their front yard. There's 3 or 4 broken cars. There's a truck that's on blocks, and you'll see trash, and it's just absolutely amazing. But I always wanted to make a book with just pictures of the South and just take pictures of those yards, because every single town has one, or 3 or 4 of them, or more than that. But anyway.
Yeah. It's been wonderful to have you on. Give people your final pitch out to order up your books and wherever fine books are sold, in your .com.
Absolutely. It's .com, and there's others that you can probably look up, but Clinton Mafia in English and in Spanish, and Gulf Shores by Vonda Crocker, and Home Fires Burning by Vonda Crocker. All of those, it's available at Amazon. It's available at Barnes & Noble, and most of them at Books A Million. And so go buy them. You'll love them.
Go buy them, or else.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah. Plus, you got to get that recipe for how to get cocaine in the fudge if you ever need to.
Yeah, somebody might need that.
You ever need to travel. Not that I recommend it. Those are jokes, people. Lawyers are ringing my phone right now.
They're kidding.
I'm getting the messages from the attorney now. Chris, you're doing it again. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm just being funny. We're entertaining people. Yeah. It's not funny when the marshals knock on the door and be like, we need to inspect your fudge. And I'm like, It's not Friday. Anyway,
thank you, Chris, for having me. I appreciate
you, Vonda.
it.
Thanks for coming. Yeah. We always have a lot of fun with our authors. We love it. People pick up her book wherever fine books are sold, The Clinton Mafia by Vonda Crocker. And it's not about the Clintons. Stop it, you conspiracy nutballs. So maybe get jobs or something, eh? Anyway, and order a book. So that way you can read what the true fiction is behind the Clintons. I don't know, whatever I'm going on about. So thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss on the TikTok and all those crazy places. And be good to each other. Don't make me pull the car over and come back there. See you next.
You've been listening to the most amazing, intelligent podcast ever made to improve your brain and your life. Warning, consuming too much of the Chris Voss Show podcast can lead to people thinking you're smarter, younger, and irresistible sexy. Consume in regularly moderated amounts. Consult a doctor for any resulting brain bleed.